Well, folks, imagine a land divided, not just by a line on a map, but by decades of history, ideology, and the hopes and fears of millions. Picture a place where the past and present collide every single day, shaping the lives of everyone who calls it home. This is a story of two nations, side by side, yet worlds apart. Two brothers, once united by blood and culture, now find themselves on opposite sides of a fortified border. Their shared history is a distant memory replaced by suspicion and rivalry. The Korean Peninsula, once a single, thriving entity, is now split into north and south, each with its own path, its own dreams, and its own challenges. That's the Korean Peninsula, where North Korea and South Korea face each other across a heavily guarded border known as the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ. This narrow strip of land, stretching about 250 kilometers, is one of the most fortified borders in the world. Soldiers stand watch day and night, and the tension is palpable even in the silence. Families have been separated for generations, unable to cross or even communicate freely. The DMZ is not just a physical barrier, it's an emotional one, a constant reminder of what was lost and what might never be regained. It's a relic of the Cold War, a frozen conflict simmering with tension. The Korean War, which began in 1950, never truly ended. Instead, it paused with an armistice in 1953, leaving both sides in a state of uneasy ceasefire. The world has changed since then, but here time seems to stand still. North Korea, officially the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, is shrouded in secrecy. Its government tightly controls information, and its military parades are displays of power meant to project strength to the world. The country is often in the headlines for its nuclear ambitions and its isolation from the global community. At the helm is Kim Jong-un, a leader whose actions and intentions are the subject of endless speculation. To some, he is a symbol of defiance, to others, a source of fear. His leadership style is marked by unpredictability, and his regime maintains a tight grip on the nation's people and resources. Life in North Korea is shaped by strict rules and constant surveillance. Citizens are expected to show loyalty to the state, and information from the outside world is scarce. Despite these challenges, people go about their daily lives, finding moments of joy and connection where they can. On the other side, we have South Korea, officially the Republic of Korea. It's a vibrant democracy, known for its booming economy, cutting-edge technology, and rich pop culture. Cities like Seoul are bustling with life, innovation, and creativity, making South Korea a global leader in everything from electronics to entertainment. South Koreans enjoy freedoms and opportunities that stand in stark contrast to their northern neighbors. Education, entrepreneurship, and artistic expression thrive here, and the country's influence can be felt around the world, from K-pop music to high-speed internet. Yet despite these differences, the two Koreas remain bound by history. The Armistice Agreement of the 1950s keeps the peace, but it's a fragile peace maintained by vigilance and diplomacy. Every handshake at the DMZ is a reminder of what's at stake, and what could be possible if reconciliation ever comes. Tensions flare up from time to time, with military exercises, missile tests, and heated rhetoric making headlines. Recent events have thrown a new and unsettling light on the balance of power, reminding the world that the Korean Peninsula remains one of the most volatile flashpoints on the planet. The story of North and South Korea is far from over, and the world is watching, hoping for a peaceful future. Now, in a surprising turn of events that has caught the attention of the entire world, North Korea has found a new friend in an old ally, Russia. This unexpected partnership is making headlines, as two countries with a long, complicated history are now stepping into the global spotlight together. For decades, North Korea and Russia have shared a relationship marked by ups and downs, but recent developments have brought them closer than ever before. The world is watching as these two nations, both often at odds with the West, are forging a new path forward. Remember the Cold War? That era of tension, suspicion, and global rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union? Well, some things never really change, do they? The echoes of that time still shape international politics today. The alliances, the rivalries, and the constant maneuvering for power are all still very much alive, just with new faces and new stakes. The world may have moved on from the Cold War, but its legacy continues to influence the decisions of world leaders, especially in places like North Korea and Russia. In June 2024, these two nations took a dramatic step by signing a mutual defense treaty. This agreement is more than just a piece of paper, it's a powerful statement to the world. The pact essentially says, if you're attacked, we've got your back. It's a promise of military support and solidarity, signaling that North Korea and Russia are ready to stand together against any external threats. This move has sent shockwaves through the international community, raising questions about what this new alliance could mean for global security and the balance of power. But it goes even deeper than that. In a move that truly shocked the world, North Korea sent thousands of its own troops to support Russia in the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. This is not just a symbolic gesture, it's a real, tangible commitment of manpower and resources. The sight of North Korean soldiers marching alongside Russian forces in Europe is something few could have predicted just a few years ago. This unprecedented cooperation marks a significant escalation, and it's a clear sign that both countries are willing to take bold risks to achieve their goals. It's a bold move, a gamble that could have far-reaching consequences for the entire world. The stakes are high, and the outcome is uncertain. As North Korea and Russia deepen their alliance, other nations are left to wonder what comes next. Will this partnership lead to greater instability, or could it force a new era of diplomacy? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: the world is watching, and the decisions made today will shape the future for years to come. The Korean War, a brutal conflict that ended in 1953, was the last time North Korean soldiers saw large-scale combat. But now, in the battlefields of Ukraine, they're back in the theater of war. It's a crash course in modern warfare, a baptism by fire against a determined enemy. Reports suggest that North Korean troops, known for their discipline and obedience, are primarily used in defensive positions. But the human cost is undeniable. Thousands are believed to have been killed or wounded, a grim reminder of the real stakes in this conflict. Now here's a chilling thought. What if Russia, in exchange for North Korea's military support, decides to share its advanced weaponry? It's a possibility that has defense analysts deeply concerned. Imagine North Korea, already armed with nuclear weapons, getting its hands on even more sophisticated technology. It's a recipe for instability, a dangerous escalation that could threaten the entire region. But wait, there's another player in this high-stakes game: South Korea. This nation, a technological powerhouse and a close ally of the United States, boasts a modern and well-equipped military. South Korea's armed forces are a far cry from their northern counterparts. They're trained to fight alongside U.S. troops equipped with cutting-edge technology and backed by a robust economy. It's a formidable force, a stark contrast to the North's more conventional army. So, who would win in a hypothetical war between North and South Korea? It's a question that's fascinated military analysts, historians, and everyday people for decades. The Korean Peninsula has been divided since the 1950s, and both sides have spent years preparing for the possibility of renewed conflict. But when you really dig into the details, the answer is far from straightforward. Well folks, it's not as simple as picking a winner in a video game. Unlike a game, where you can just compare stats and declare a champion, real-world warfare is messy, unpredictable, and shaped by countless variables. There's no reset button, and the consequences are devastatingly real. There are just so many factors at play, so many unknowns. Geography, weather, morale, leadership, and even luck can tip the scales in unexpected ways. And then there's the human element: how soldiers and civilians would react under the unimaginable stress of war. North Korea might have the element of surprise and honestly a willingness to use unconventional tactics. Their military doctrine emphasizes secrecy, deception, and sudden attacks, which could catch their opponents off guard. They've spent decades digging tunnels, training special forces, and preparing for guerrilla warfare in the mountains and cities. They've got a massive army, even if, their equipment is outdated. North Korea's military is one of the largest in the world by sheer numbers, with millions of soldiers and reservists. But much of their gear dates back to the Cold War era: old tanks, aging artillery, and limited air power. Still, sheer manpower can be a powerful force, especially in defensive or surprise operations. And then there's the nuclear threat, that wild card that hangs over any potential conflict. North Korea's nuclear arsenal is small but unpredictable, and even the possibility of a single nuclear strike changes the entire strategic equation. It's a terrifying factor that makes any military confrontation incredibly risky, not just for Korea, but for the whole world. South Korea, on the other hand, has technology on its side. Their military is modern, well-equipped, and constantly updated with the latest advancements. From advanced fighter jets and tanks to cutting-edge cyber capabilities and surveillance drones, South Korea's forces are designed for speed, precision, and flexibility. They've got the training, the equipment, and of course the logistical support of the United States. The US-South Korea alliance means that, in the event of war, American troops, aircraft, and naval forces would likely join the fight. This partnership brings not just firepower but also intelligence, satellite surveillance, and global reach. Huge advantages in any conflict. But a war on the Korean Peninsula would be a bloodbath, a conflict with no real winners. The cost in human lives, the destruction of cities, and the suffering of families on both sides would be unimaginable. No matter who might claim victory on paper, the reality is that everyone would lose something precious. In the end, the true strength lies in avoiding such a tragedy altogether. War is never a solution, folks. It's a last resort, a path fraught with danger and uncertainty, and in the case of a new Korean War, the consequences would be catastrophic. Imagine millions of lives lost, cities reduced to rubble, and the global economy just thrown into chaos. It's a nightmare scenario, a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. So, what's the answer? How do we prevent this powder keg from igniting? Well, it starts with dialogue, with open communication and a willingness to find common ground. Diplomacy, folks, that's the key. It might be a slow and often frustrating process, but, honestly, it's the only way to build lasting peace. We need to encourage talks to find a way to de-escalate the situation and prevent a disastrous conflict. The future of the Korean Peninsula remains uncertain, a delicate balance between hope and fear. The recent events have only added to the complexity, reminding us that peace is a fragile thing. It's a situation that demands our attention, our vigilance, and our commitment to finding a peaceful resolution. The stakes are just too high, the potential consequences too dire to ignore this simmering conflict. We must strive for a future where dialogue replaces division, where peace prevails over the threat of war.